He was cast off Mount Olympus by his mother Hera because of his lameness, and he landed on the ocean.
You gave birth to me. All right, today we got every Greek god explained in 11 minutes by the Paint Explainer. If you guys don't know, I'm a really big fan of mythology. I know a little bit of ball, okay? I know a little bit of balls, and I know that Greek men also like balls, so I'm pretty tapped in. Let's get into it.
The primordial deities are the first generation of gods and goddesses. One of these deities was called Gaia, which was Mother Earth, and another one was called Uranus, which was Father Sky. They gave birth to the second generation of gods, called the 12 Titans. The youngest of these Titans was Cronus, usually depicted with a sickle and considered the patron of the harvest. But Gaia and Uranus had even more children, the 300-handed Hecantocheires and the one-eyed Cyclopes. Uranus, however, hated them and hid them in Tartarus, a deep abyss that was used as a dungeon of torment and suffering for the wicked. This angered Gaia, their mother, who tried to make an alliance with her 12 children to castrate Uranus.
Yeah, you know what he did? He got Chick-fil-A sauce and went to town, ate all of them.
He created a great stone sickle and gathered together all of the Titans, but nobody wanted to do it except for Cronus.
Oh, that's the Titans. That's yeah, because they had to take down Uranus.
His own father, and castrated him. He then threw his testicles and the sickle into the ocean, which
I didn't know that. That's crazy. That's crazy. And honestly, when it comes to mythology and how like horny these like gods are, that is probably the most important thing you can take away from a god or a goddess, right? You get in a fight with like a crazy with Gaia, right? You don't punch her in the heart and kill her or whatever. You rip her uterus out so she can't like have any more baby, cause like they just gonna go make more kids and they gonna spin back on you. That's all that they do. If they not having sex with each other, if they ain't doing each other, they all up there like, you know, they geeking.
And castrated him. He then threw his testicles and the sickle into the ocean, which became Corfu, the Greek island.
Bro, imagine living on, oh, okay, I thought they were gonna be, because I was gonna say testicle shape, that's Corfu is a sickle. I was gonna say, imagine living on Uranus's balls, bro, that'd be crazy.
For having a sickle-like shape. After Uranus was dethroned, Cronus and his older sister Rhea took the throne of the world as king and queen. The period in which Cronus ruled was called the Golden Age, as the people of the time had no need for laws, rules, or work. Gaia and Uranus, however, had prophesied that Cronus was going to be overthrown by one of his sons, just like he did with Uranus. This gave him paranoia, and although he created them with Rhea, he devoured all 5 of his children as soon as they were born, but one survived. Rhea secretly gave birth to a 6th child called Zeus. He wanted to get revenge for Cronus's acts against his father and children. Rhea gave Cronus a stone wrapped in swaddling clothes, which he promptly swallowed, thinking that it was...
You know, he ate it, and he didn't know the difference. He a fucking bonehead.
Forced Cronus to disgorge the contents of his stomach in reverse order. First, the stone, and then his 2 brothers and 3 sisters, which were Poseidon, Hades, Hera, Hestia, and Demeter. After freeing his siblings, Zeus released the 100-handed Hecatoncheires and the Cyclopes, who forged for him his thunderbolts, Poseidon...
Hecka, that's 20, I think. Or, no, that's 10. Because I know Dodeca, he drawn his 20 or 25-sided, so...
...his trident and Hades' helm of darkness. A vast war, called the Titanomachy, broke out between Zeus, with his siblings, and the Hecatoncheires and the Cyclopes, against Cronus and the other 12 Titans. Zeus and his siblings fought from Mount Olympus, and the Titans fought from Mount Othrys. For this reason, Zeus and his siblings were called the Olympians. The Olympians won, and many of the Titans were confined to Tartarus. He married Hera, his sister, by whom he is usually said to have fathered Ares and Hephaestus.
Yeah, and he also cheated on her a bunch of times with multiple random things. I even think he it was Poseidon that banged the manatee or something like that, but Zeus was also out here like just putting his meat in anything, like cows or whatever.
Zeus, however, was infamous for his many affairs with other goddesses, from which Athena, Hermes, Diana...
I was not tapped in with Athena. I did not. I just learned something new. That one's crazy. And Athena's like his favorite too. That's crazy.
Dionysus, Apollo, and Artemis were born. Hera. Hera is the goddess of marriage, women, and family. Being the wife and sister of Zeus, she's the queen of gods. She was one of the most jealous and vengeful gods, punishing women who...
Yeah, she cursed a bunch of the women instead of just bodying the dude that was like throwing meat, just lobbing meat to other goddesses and other women. Yeah, they were tweaking. Athena did the same thing to Medusa as well. Freaking Medusa was getting sexually harassed, and she was getting essayed in Athena's church by Poseidon, I think. And then Athena took that personally. I was like, man, nah, Poseidon, what you did is fucked up, but you did it in my church, and it's your fault, Medusa. So I'm gonna curse you to be chopped forever. You're now gonna be girl sham NYC, and then
laid with her husband and the children that came from it as well. When she discovered that Leto, one of Zeus's girls, was pregnant with Apollo and Artemis, she tried to stop the birth of both of them. She convinced the nature spirits to prevent them from being born, but Poseidon, brother of both Hera and Zeus, gave pity to Leto and guided her to the floating island of Delos, where she could give birth. She showed her anger towards Hercules too, another illegitimate child of Zeus. She sent serpents to kill him, but the new—
What? Disney was a lie? Of course it was fake. Of course it was all a lie. That's crazy. Well, that makes sense, because Hades is actually a chill-ass dude in Greek mythology. Hades is actually pretty cool. So it makes sense that Hera was the one to do it. That would have been a really cool twist for Disney. Don't get me wrong, Hercules is a 10 out of 10 Disney movie. It's like top 5 for sure. And it's not 5. But that would have been a really cool plot twist for something like for a Disney movie. That would have been dope.
Newborn crushed them with his bare hands. She later drove him to madness, making him kill his wife and children, the event that then sent him on his 12 labors. Poseidon. Poseidon is the god of the sea and presides over storms, earthquakes, and horses. He was a horrifying and avenging god, and he was honored even when he wasn't the patron deity of the city. When Zeus's son Minos asked for Poseidon's help in order to certify his claim on the throne of Crete, he offered Minos a splendid white bull, with the understanding that he was to sacrifice the bull to Poseidon later. The Cretans were so impressed with the bull and the divine sign itself that Minos was declared king of Crete. But wishing to keep the beautiful animal for himself, Minos instead sacrificed an ordinary bull to Poseidon instead of the agreed upon one. Poseidon, enraged, caused Minos' wife to fall in love with—
I don't know. I'm about to hear something crazy. I don't know where mortals get this is for like Christianity too. Why do they do that? Why do they not listen? You know? Poseidon probably promised him mad stuff. God does the same thing too. He promises them mad stuff, and they're just like, fuck what Jesus talking about. Let's praise this bull. And then they get surprised when the earth cracks open and they get swallowed whole. And then people try to turn it like, well, you know, well, maybe if God was just a lot more compassionate, well, maybe if you motherfuckers listen, you wouldn't be in this predicament. You know what I'm saying?
Bull. Their coupling produced the Minotaur, a half-bull, half-human creature who fed on human flesh.
Okay, so that's exactly what I thought happened.
Athena is the goddess of wisdom, warfare, and handicraft. She was born from Zeus's forehead without a mother.
Shout out to Epic the Musical. You are a—
Zeus's wife was so angry at him for having given birth to a child on his own that she conceived and bore him.
Men, is it gay to give birth to your own? Men can't have nothing. I know Zeus cheated a bunch of times, but he made this one himself, right? And you mad at him for that too? That's crazy. You don't like nothing, man.
Given birth to a child on his own that she conceived and bore Hephaestus by herself. Athena went into a competition—
Hate baby, insane—
for the patronage of the city against Poseidon. They each had to give the Athenians one gift, and Cecrops, the king of Athens, would determine which gift was better. Poseidon struck the ground with his trident, and a saltwater spring sprang up. This gave the Athenians access to trade and water. Athena offered the first domesticated olive tree, which brought wood, oil, and food. Athena won and became Athens' patron deity. Afterwards, Poseidon was so angry over his defeat that he sent one of his sons, Halirrhothius, to cut down the tree. But as he swung his axe, he missed his aim, and it fell on himself, killing him.
That's real.
Into a hideous monster with serpents for hair whose gaze would turn any mortal to stone after she discovered that Poseidon raped Medusa in Athena's temple, desecrating it.
If I was Medusa, what'd she say fuck me for?
Hephaestus is the god of artisans, blacksmiths, carpenters, fire, sculpture, and volcanoes.
I think Hephaestus is the most like hoed deity out of all of them too, if I recall.
He was cast off Mount Olympus by his mother Hera because of his lameness, and he landed on the ocean.
You gave birth to me. You gave birth to me, because you was mad at Pops making his own kid. You threw me away because I'm lame? I would have spun back on her. I would have got her with 3 snakes of my own.
He made all the weapons of the gods in Olympus and of many heroes like
and was forced to make weapons for like people who don't even mess with him like that either, bruh. Free Hephaestus.
Achilles and Hercules. Hephaestus also created Pandora and her famous box, which she opened, causing curses to be released upon mankind. He was one of the Olympians to have returned to Olympus after being exiled. He gained revenge against Hera for rejecting him by making her a magical golden throne.
And she couldn't move from it. She was stuck there forever. I remember that.
Which, when she sat on it, did not allow her to stand up again. The other gods begged Hephaestus to return to Olympus to let her go, but he refused, saying, "I have no mother." He demanded to be married to Aphrodite, the goddess of love and
I think if I remember correctly, this little AI picture of Hephaestus is fake. Hephaestus is chopped. All right. Imagine the ugliest dude you can think of. That's Hephaestus. And they gave him Aphrodite, and Aphrodite ended up cheating on Hephaestus.
and passion in order to release Hera, and his mother fulfilled the request. Aphrodite. Aphrodite is the goddess of love, lust, beauty, pleasure, and passion. She was born from Uranus' genitals when they fell into the ocean after Cronus cut them.
Hephaestus was macking it with another dude's balls.
Aphrodite generously rewarded those who honored her, but also punished those who disrespected her, often quite brutally. Though married to Hephaestus,
yeah, I think in the Battle of Troy, I think it was the Battle of Troy, because gods aren't allowed to fight each other head on. This is why they do petty shit like that, right? I don't know why. It's never fully explained, but they're not allowed to fight each other head on. So they would go do petty shit. They'd be like, mortals, go fuck up whatever Athena got going on. Or they'd be like, go fuck up what Zeus and them got going on. And they'll fight through mortals and whatever. But Aphrodite specifically is like the cause of like, is like the main villain of the Iliad. So most of these, they are some bitches, bro. I think the only cool deity so far that might be cool is Hades, because he just leads them to he chills.
Aphrodite had an affair with Ares, the god of war. Eventually, Hephaestus discovered Aphrodite's affair and planned it.
Yeah, what was Hephaestus gonna do? Hephaestus better be lucky that it was Ares and not Kratos, because then he would have been cooked.
Trap. While Aphrodite and Ares lay together in bed, Hephaestus ensnared them in an unbreakable chain-link net and dragged them to Mount Olympus to shame them in front of the other gods. Oh,
that's crazy. Testicles and butts and stuff out too. Probably had y'all splayed out crazy as well. Dragged y'all up all of Mount Olympus, no stairs. Probably got like pebbles and rocks and sand in both of your gooches. Hephaestus he might be the most hoe deity out of this whole list. Hephaestus is cool though.
Other gods laughed at them, and it was only due to the intervention of Poseidon that they were released. Ares. Ares is the god of war and courage. He embodies the physical valor necessary for success in war, but can also personify sheer brutality and bloodlust, in contrast to his sister, the armored Athena, whose martial functions include military strategy and generalship. Ares plays a relatively limited role in Greek mythology, but his numerous love affairs and abundant offspring are often
I was finna say he also slept with Athena. Good lord, man, the incest is crazy.
to. Apollo. Apollo is the god of...
Y'all know I'm a fan of catchy songs, and with the many sirens gone, I think Odie's in the wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like,
archery, music and dance, truth and prophecy, healing and diseases, the sun and light, poetry and more. He was born from the union of Zeus and Leto. Hera, Zeus's wife, tried to stop Leto from giving birth to this illegitimate child, but she failed. He is considered to be the most beautiful god. He's the patron deity of Delphi and the prophetic deity of the famous Delphi oracle. His oracles were often consulted for guidance in various matters. He was, in general, seen as the god who affords help and wards off evil. Medicine and healing are associated with Apollo. Apollo delivered people from
So if it wasn't for Apollo, we wouldn't have Stims and Call of Duty and had no Medi Betties in Fortnite. Okay, shout out to Apollo.
epidemics, yet he was also a god who could bring deadly plagues with his arrows. He is an important pastoral deity and was the patron of herdsmen and shepherds. Artemis is the goddess of the hunt, the wilderness, wild animals, nature, vegetation, childbirth, care of children, and chastity. She's the twin sister of Apollo and one of the 3 major virgin goddesses alongside Athena and Hestia.
Yeah, she is actually. Girl, you know I hate did this.
Guarded her virginity jealously, and when a young hunter saw her bathing naked, he was transformed into a deer by the angry goddess, and was then devoured by his own hunting dogs.
Nah, that's crazy.
Who did not recognize their master. Artemis was one of the most widely venerated of the ancient Greek deities. Dionysus. Dionysus is the god of wine, parties, and theater. He is another illegitimate child of Zeus. Many festivals were celebrated to worship him with mass drinking and orgies. Hermes. Hermes is the messenger god and
That's the great-great-granddad of Odysseus. Listen, I love all the animatics, by the way, for Epic the Musical. But why do y'all keep having Hermes kiss Odysseus? That's family. That's incest, y'all. Stop doing that. I know some of y'all don't know, so I'm gonna let it slide. But I'm looking at you. I forgot your name. You know what I'm talking about. Y'all gotta stop that. That's gross. I'll be damned if my great-granddad kissing me saying good luck. I'll push you down them stairs, Gramps.
the patron of thieves, travelers, and merchants. He is able to move quickly and freely between the worlds of the mortal and the divine, aided by his winged sandals. He's a conductor of souls into the afterlife. He was another illegitimate child of Zeus, and he's regarded as the...
Actually, I don't know how the afterlife works in Greek mythology. I don't know why I haven't looked into that. Because, you know, Christianity, heaven and hell. I don't know where people go in Greek mythology. You know, where people go in Norse mythology, they go to Valhalla. And then when people like lose, when they die or whatever, I don't know, you go where Hades and them at, in the underworld. But where do you go in Greek mythology?
divine trickster, as he often pulled pranks and stole from the other deities. Hermes always takes with him a golden rod as a mark of his authority, and he's usually depicted wearing a winged helmet. He rescued Dionysus many times. Demeter. Demeter is the goddess of the harvest and agriculture, presiding over crops. Through her brother Zeus, she became the mother of Persephone, a fertility goddess. Hades, the god of the dead, loved Persephone and appeared from the ground to drag her down to the underworld.
You didn't do that consensually, Unc. I can't get past that. Can't do that. Never mind. Hades is not the most chill now. That's not cool.
Demeter searched everywhere to find her missing daughter until she was informed that Hades had taken her to the underworld. In response, Demeter neglected her duties as goddess of agriculture, plunging the earth into a deadly famine.
Yeah, until she gave her back. That's real. That's how some of these weirdos moving with that. What's that girl named Miss Shirley? You 40 driving what, 8 hours out to watch a little girl? We gotta hang you by your collarbones, bruh. What are you talking about?
Where nothing would grow, causing mortals to die. Zeus ordered Hades to return Persephone to her mother to save the world. However, since Persephone had eaten food from the underworld, she could not stay with Demeter forever, but had to divide the year between her mother and Hades. This explained the seasonal cycle, as Demeter does not let plants grow in the winter while Persephone is gone. Hades. Hades is the...
That's cool what people can come up with like, not even like trying to compare religions or whatever, but that's cool. This is gonna somehow segue into just saying fuck AI, but like, that's a dope thing to come up with. You know why the winter don't grow is because Persephone daughter, she got freaking kidnapped by Hades, but she ate some of the fruit, so she couldn't show up. She couldn't show up anymore with her mama for a long time. So like, you know, this is split parenthood thing, you know, whatever, not parenthood, because Hades and them, they cracking, but...
God of the dead and the king of the underworld, where the spirits of the dead reside. He was portrayed as passive and never portrayed negatively. His role was often to maintain relative balance. He strictly forbade his subjects to leave his domain and would become quite enraged when anyone tried to leave or if someone tried to steal the souls from...
Nobody wanna stay in hell, bruh. Y'all ain't got no PS5s or nothing like that. Nothing but Nintendo Switch 2s, Zeus Network. I'm not staying down there, bruh.
His realm. He rarely left the underworld and didn't care about what happened above him. The only way to enter the underworld was to get passage from ferryman Charon, who helped souls cross the Styx River if they paid him. For that reason, when Greeks died, most of the time, coins were buried with them and placed on their eyes. If someone couldn't afford to pay Charon, he would have to wait for eternity on the shores of the Styx. Once the Styx...
Yeah, that's crazy. So again, is Hades, is the underworld somewhere you want to go? Trying to ignore the Disney version of the underworld, right? Because that means it could be wrong. The underworld could be a place of peace where restless souls go, but you gotta have bread on you. I'll be damned I die, and then like motherfucking ferryman talking about that'll be 20, give me a dub. A dub? I ain't got nothing in my pockets, bruh. You had these noodles, you got his sandwich, you can get this Miles Morales treatment, bruh.
This was passed, the souls found Cerberus, a three-headed dog that was the guardian of the underworld's gates. After that, the soul was judged by the three judges, who decided where it should go. They can choose between Elysium, the Asphodel Meadows, and Tartarus.
Okay, so the underworld is like a middle place. You high-key fucked up if you stuck in the underworld. But Tartarus is hell. The Asphodel Meadows is limbo. And then Elysium. I don't know why I've never heard of Elysium before. That's crazy. I'm gonna have to look into that.
The Elysium is basically heaven, and it's where the souls of heroes, demigods, and especially good...
I know where you at, Odysseus. Well, I think book-wise, you have different interpretations of them. But my interpretation, in my opinion, is Jorge's version, which is the best version of Odysseus. And yeah.
Mortals were sent. The Asphodel Meadows was a place for ordinary people who did not achieve anything particular in life, good or bad. Tartarus is basically hell. It's where the Titans and other criminals who upset the gods reside. Everyone in Tartarus is tortured for eternity. Hestia. Hestia is the goddess of the hearth, the place in a home where a fire is or was
She also got them, but I'm thinking about the animators.
traditionally kept for home heating and cooking, and of homes in general. She's one of the 3 virgin goddesses, alongside Athena and Artemis. She has a very limited mythology. I'll be making similar videos. Subscribe to see them.
Okay, that was fun. That was a really good watch. I really love mythology. I could probably watch this for hours, bro. Anyways, that was every Greek guy explained in 11 minutes. I'm gonna take this hat off without revealing my chop profile. If you guys like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, comment down below what you think I should react to next. If you want to watch me react live, come into the stream, man. We can hang out. I don't have a specific schedule, so you're gonna have to like follow and turn the notifications on until I figure it out. But thank you guys for watching, and then I'm out.